Let's give a warm welcome to our newest member, Little Carney, Michael.
Forced labor in Shenzhen. Have you witnessed this yourself? Have you been there ever?
I've been to China many times.
Have you witnessed
since
forced labor in Shenzhen?
1979? No.
Have you witnessed forced? Just a short answer. Have you witnessed forced labor in Shenzhen? Yes or no?
I'd make that face too, lady, if Michael Ma came at me like that. He's disgusting. He's a floor-crossing traitor, CCP hack, posing as an MP. Goodness gracious, he's a disgrace. The funniest thing about these clips is that, and they're not showing this one anywhere, Michael Ma demands an apology. That's the thing. Michael Ma demands an apology. Right after his first couple of minutes here, we'll see him really turn this into a much larger train wreck than it needed to be. Michael Ma, you got to go. Back to China for you, bud.
Mr. Ma, the floor is yours for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the witnesses being here. Due to the time limit, I'm going to be asking for very sharp, precise answers for the following questions for Ms. Krager-Johnston. Do you have an advanced degree in technology and cybersecurity? Yes or no?
No, but
Thank you.
I have spent
like I said,
37 years
I need to get short answers,
business.
please.
Okay.
The other one is you belong to the China Strategic Risk Institute. So does this institute specifically look for risk when there isn't one? Yes or no?
No,
So why is it a risk institute?
because it analyzes risks that are obviously there.
Thank you. So the last question then is, you claim about forced labor in Shenzhen. Have you witnessed this yourself? Have you been there ever?
I've been to China many times.
Have you witnessed
since
forced labor in Shenzhen?
1979?
Have
No.
you witnessed forced? Just a short answer. Have you witnessed forced labor in Shenzhen? Yes or no? So did you get that
I
from
work closely with
hearsay?
Human Rights Watch, where researchers
Okay.
did witness it.
So thank you. Following question is for Professor Carey Goodsian. Many of those opposed to our government's EV deal with China have expressed various talking points centered around idea that somehow China is using the deal as an opportunity to create, quote, create a foothold in the Canadian auto market and then blow our sector away, unquote. So this idea is especially important to consider in the context of the ongoing affordability crisis and our domestic auto industry, which employs thousands of Canadians, workers, including in my own riding of Markham Unionville. So, Professor, what are your thoughts on this matter, and how would you respond to these talking points?
Sasanya, thank you. In terms of China using Canada as a foothold, my approach to any question is particularly political and geopolitical ones is to pretend that I'm an alien coming to Earth and I'm looking at every side. From China's point of view, this is a day and a half production. It's a day and a half's worth of production. That's number one. Number two, we don't make many EVs in Canada. We hope to. So we do have a cost of living crisis. Automobiles are extremely expensive. You can buy a Tesla and perhaps help pay. I'm not sure about the details of how Tesla's corporate plan works, but perhaps help pay for his $868 billion salary for Mr. Musk. Or you could buy extremely efficient or have at least the potential to buy very well-made electric vehicles from the rest of the world, including China, that makes 70% of the world's electric vehicles and accounts for 65% of the world's demand. I will say this. Sorry, I'll wait for the next question. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So many of those opposed our government's EV deal, as we said, and concern about personal data and so forth. Now, although today in our smart home devices, they have far more data than we would like to have, and in our cell phones and so forth, having our fingerprints as well as facial profiles. I mean, that is more dangerous than knowing where you've been with your car. So what is your response to these arguments, and do you believe that this will be a legitimate concern?
I don't. I think the point you mentioned about smart devices, whoever has an iPhone in this room, we'll have to corroborate this, but I think 85% have been assembled in China, iPhones and other smart devices. So if we're concerned about this, let's start with smartphones. If China wants to spy on us, as other big countries do, spy on everybody, then they could use their space station and all of the other technologies they have. I'm just wondering whether they're interested in my driving to my kid's hockey game and, stopping at Tim Hortons or wherever I stop. I just don't think that's a legitimate concern. What I do think is a legitimate concern is the sheer size of China. And they'd be the first ones to admit this. There are 1.425 million people. At purchasing power parity, they're the largest economy in the world. They have heft. And dealing in any asymmetric relationship like this, one has to be careful, whether it's the United States or India or China or even the EU, which has extensive protections on agriculture, which is one of our big comparative advantages in international trade. Thank you. As well, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Further, you have written about, quote, we have more to gain from this agreement than we have to lose, given that our, unquote, given that our relationship with our largest trading partner, as you said, has been upended, and we need to upend our relationship, not harken back to an era that's past. So what does the future of Canada's automotive industry look like with and without diversifying our trade?
Without diversifying?
With and without diversifying. Yeah.
Without diversifying our trade, our industry has been, for the past 25 years, in long-term decline, in terminal decline. As I mentioned in my statement, we're down over 50% in production, which has been particularly brutal for Ontario and Quebec and parts of Quebec. So our industry, without any kind of diversification with China, with India and other countries, has taken a beating. It's 60% decline in vehicle production. With diversification, Canada possesses, we're a natural resource superpower, and we can play to our advantage. We have critical minerals. We have inexpensive electricity production. The government of Mark Carney, Prime Minister Mark Carney, is expanding this electrification. So we have critical minerals, electrification, and we have a battery industry. We could plug into the global industry. Mr. Trump, Treasury Secretary Bessent, and all of his other senior officials in that administration have made clear to us that American automobiles will not be staying in Canada. Japanese automakers have been very loyal to this country.
Mr. Carney, I'm sorry to interrupt, but to be fair, we're now 45 seconds over.
Michael Ma is hideous. He showed his true colors there, no doubt about it. He's a CCP plant, right? Why else would you talk like that? Anyhow, the train goes further off the tracks right here. He demands his apology. Check this out. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Let's get back to the video.
Ms. McQuaig-Johnson, I want to apologize for the member on the other side of the table.
Point of order.
Very rude
Chair
to you.
Okay, colleagues, just one moment. I sense we've got a little bit of tension brewing. I have a point of order that I'm going to address. And then, Ms. Borelli, I've paused the clock so you won't lose time on the matter. Madame O'Rourke, on a point of order.
Thank you, Chair Carr. So we've had frequently the Vice Chair use a similar line and tone in questioning, and so there's nothing untoward in terms of my colleagues' interaction.
Okay, thank you, Madame O'Rourke. Not a point of order that I see in there. Madame Borelli, you're of course free to use your time as Mr. Ma, on a point of order.
Well, I obviously in public being accused, and I like an apology from the member from the other side.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ma. That would not be a point of order, and I don't.
Give me evidence that any violation that requires an apology for me on my behalf.
So, Mr. Ma, I think we're kind of getting into a little bit of debate at the moment. Ms. Borelli, I might ask, just for the sake of allowing us to get back to our line of questioning, that we focus, if possible, on the substantive content and nature the discussion before us. So with that, I'm going to return the floor to you with 4 minutes and 52 seconds remaining of your 5 minutes.
Well, I'll continue with my apology for the behavior of the member across the aisle. You're giving very good testimony.
Point of order. I did not ask you to represent me to apologize, so thank you.
Okay. So, colleagues, I think it's obvious that there is some disagreement about the language being used. I think we can move past this. We've got two witnesses before us who are offering some insight into an important study that we asked for, and I would suggest that instead of focusing on the internal dynamics between members, we direct our questions to the witnesses before us in an attempt to gain some further insight into the matters before us. Ms. Borelli, I'll turn the floor back to you.
Smash the like, hit subscribe, get your Canadian federal politics right here.